sit-ins, freedom rides, okay? Southern Alabama. So I'm no stranger, all right? But I never, okay, can tell you how much I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Back in the 70s, we organized a program in New York at Green Haven, all right, upstate New York. It's called the AVP. And I'd forgotten about that until somebody contacted me and said, hey, you know, it wrote me a letter, you know, from the inside. Said that I'm going to be getting out, man. It's after, you know, life sentence, but they reduced it. That person right now is a professor at Medgar Evers College in New York. He has his doctorate degree. The possibilities are unlimited as long as you have breath in your body and you have life. The only thing that can stop you is yourself. And people often make too many excuses. And they put the excuses in front of them rather than behind them. There is nothing that you cannot accomplish if you set your goals. You can do that. Hey, they figured out how to go to the moon and walk on the moon. Hey, that used to be a joke when I was growing up. You know what I'm talking about? The man in the moon. How about the man on the moon? You know what I'm talking about? If they can figure out how to walk on the moon, I think you need, you know, hey, put your mind to it. You can figure that out. Now, here's the thing we have to deal with. Very facts and statistics. 43% of the children who have parents incarcerated are going to have problems. It's not a question about the problems, because problems can be solved. So what? You got a problem. Now, I'm not going to ask you how many of y'all have parents who've been, okay? Because you know that. In fact, you have more information on that than I do. I need you to do this. I need you to start doing some serious study and research on families who have members who are incarcerated. You need to become an expert on that, because that's where you can play your greatest role, is with your family. You're in a position to make a difference in their lives. Yeah. What a contribution you could make. Can you stop the jail trail? Can you reverse that? That's my point. Okay? Yeah. If it's a problem, solve it. Don't wallow in it. That's the way it is. Hey, it's not the way it is. The question is, what can it be? All right? It doesn't have to be what it is. All right? Make the is and ain't. So it ain't going to be that way. Yeah. And you get to make the decision. And you can make the difference. So since you can't do anything about the situation that you're in, what about focusing on the situation, okay, of the others? How can you be of help? How can you be direct? First thing you got to do is have some information. Having a good heart, you know, and being concerned is great. But do you have any information? Yeah, granddaddy. You know where granddaddy was born? In Cuba. Havana, Cuba. His father was French. His mother was Cuban. That's where you get the Lafayette. But that's not my name, Lafayette. My father picked that name off the wall. And I got an affidavit of my birth certificate, you know, and he changed my name. Changed his name. His name was Bernard Lafayette, and I was junior. Okay. But it wasn't Bernard Lafayette originally. You know what it was? Are y'all ready for this?
Ready.
Lafayette. So you know why he changed it, right? Yeah. After Vito died about it, they growing up with a name like Lafayette. He's fighting every day. Yeah. West Indies. That's where the other part of the family came from. Africa and West Indies. All right? Moncourt. So I got French on both sides. Spanish on one side, West Indies on. In other words, I'm a multicultural thing. All right, all that. See? So I grew up eating all kind of food. I didn't know what it was. Black beans, yellow rice, fish and peas, you know, the whole thing. All right? Arroz con pollo. All right, all that. Yeah. So, to me, I grew up in the world. I'm a world citizen. Friends all the way down to Cuba and over down to West Indies and Africa. I mean, you know, come on, where you from? I'm from the earth. That's where I'm from. So you get this narrow-minded thing in your head that you this, that, whatever, okay? No. And that's for, I want to be treated like what? Everybody else. So when I grew up, I got involved in the movement because I didn't like the way people were being treated. I didn't like the way they would treat me. Because I grew up in the South. All right? So when I met Martin Luther King and learned about this nonviolence, that's the thing that saved me because I've been going the other way. In fact, it's okay to tell you, I asked permission. I used to be a gang leader. Yeah. The Parish Street Gang in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We moved up there. We used to battle with the Girard Avenue Gang. Okay. And I was a little skinny fella, and they made me join the gang. I wasn't into that. I used to go to Sunday school, you know, and stuff like that, you know. I don't care how big the guy was. It doesn't matter how big he is. If you know judo, okay, the bigger they are,
the harder they fall.
That's what I'm talking about. So it had nothing to do with size. You know what I'm talking about? It's skills. All right? Using the same stuff. In other words, you use the weight of your opponent against your opponent. So you're not bothering him. His own weight is defeating him. In nonviolence. Okay? You don't participate in, okay, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You heard that. Okay? Yeah. Martin Luther King said, if you go with that philosophy, an eye for a tooth, and a tooth, and an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth, you end up with a blind, snagger tooth society. And what did you accomplish? Was that your goal? Because when I was growing up, I used to get 7 whippings a day. My grandma. That's what she did. She misunderstood the scripture. And, you know. Well, I explained it to her, you know what I mean? She could listen to me. But, you know, spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yeah.
Y'all had some of that, didn't you? Y'all had some rod, didn't you? Get a little rod?
Oh,
Yeah, okay. Well, that's not, well, think about it now. Spare the rod, spoil the child. In other words, you must use the rod. Because if you spare it, means that you don't use it.
Right.
Now, where else in the scripture do you find a verse about the rod? Thou rod.
National.
What?
Comfort.
You mean the rod's supposed to comfort you? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it doesn't sound like I got any comfort from the rod. So the rod was used by the shepherd. The staff was for the walking on uneven ground. But the rod, that was used for those the lamb, the little sheep, and edging them, from the cliff, so they wouldn't go over the cliff. Because see, they'd be running wild like children do. You'd run out in the middle of the street, right? So you're supposed to have a rod to keep the, it means you give some discipline. You know what discipline means? Direction. It don't mean beating somebody over the head and with the ironing cloth and the ironing board and the ironing cord and a brush and all that. They thought that was sparing the rod, So my point is, I understood about turning the other cheek because I used to turn all my cheeks. You understand what I mean? So I learned to take it. And then I also learned to love. You love your grandmama no matter what. She wasn't your enemy. But what I understood in a profound way, turning the other cheek means if somebody shows you their worst side, like curse you out and go all that kind of thing, what you do is show them another way. That's what turning the other cheek means. Show the person another way. If somebody frowns at you, show them how to smile. Okay? That's much more powerful. You know how some folks say, well, if somebody says something about me, but I can't tell you what I told them. Well, what are you doing? You allowing them to control how you're going to behave? The quality of life has to do with one thing. You know what that is? It's how you choose to respond to the negative experiences in your life. How you choose to respond to the negative experiences in your life will determine the quality of your life. And you know what I'm talking about. You made a choice of how you're going to respond. If you had another response, if you had chosen another response, life would have been different. You still have another chance to make some choices in terms of how you're going to respond to your situation today. You have the power within you. You can sit around looking pitiful and talk about what somebody else did and why, and got you and this, that, and the other, and talk about what your daddy didn't do or your mama did or that old so-and-so woman and then. Question is, what you gonna do? What I would suggest is to have a plan. Don't go around every day seeing what's going to happen next. Wake up in the morning and see what's going to happen next. Have a plan. And be working on that plan. And every day you need to be taking notes about how far you have gotten on your plan. If you don't remember anything else that I told you today, start doing some research. Get some information. Okay? That's the most important thing in terms of making your plan. Let it be an informed plan. Not just a dream and a wish and all that. Life is not about what happened yesterday. Okay? That's past life. Life is what you're going to do tomorrow. And the only way you're going to have a life tomorrow is you got to have a plan today. The reason I'm doing what I'm doing now, as Globe said, is because of Martin Luther King told me. In fact, it was April 4th, that morning before he was assassinated. I was supposed to be going to Washington. He was supposed to be going to Washington, D.C. to make an announcement about the Poor People's Campaign in 1968. But he had to stay in Memphis because he had to do the march over again because it was broken up in violence. So he said, I want you to go, Bernard. So I worked on the press release all night, and then the next morning we polished it up. And then he said something that was a non sequitur. I mean, it had nothing to do with the, press statement. He said, I want you to, our next movement is going to be to internationalize and institutionalize nonviolence. We got 40-some centers now all over the world where they're teaching. And guess where one of them is located?
Oakland.
Medellin, Colombia. Bella Vista. They bring children to the prison for the inmates to train them in nonviolence. The point is, what you going to do? They're going to be there. Now the question is, they know where they're going to be. The question is, what are you going to be? Who are you going to be? Since you already know where you're going to be, all right? I found out that there was one day of the year in Colombia when you have the highest homicide. The same day every year. That same day. You know what day that was? Mother's Day. You know why? You see, Colombia is mainly a Catholic, They hold high esteem the Virgin Mary, the mother of Jesus. So they hold mothers in high esteem. Now somebody says something about your mama on the 4th of July, you could beat them up or shoot them. Okay. Mother's Day? They got to be dead for the sun to go out. So when we trained them, they had to do a project when we finished, and you know what that project was? To bring down, homicide rate on Mother's Day. And they did it. Oh yeah. And ever since that, the inmates did this, the homicide rate went down in the whole city, the whole state. They did it. That's the power of the inmates on the outside. I'm trying to say to y'all is that now the impact what happens on the outside if you get it together on the inside of the inside. You get my point? My cousin, the same age I am, 47 years of his life was behind bars. 47. Now he stayed 47 straight now. He was just in and out, like a lot of folks. Okay? The only thing that got him staying out was he had a little boy. He got this little boy, and that's all he thinks about. That keeps him out. You need to find something that will keep you out.
I want to take you back a little bit. I know this all came about from a conversation you had with Dr. King. Was this like how before this was his assassination? Was this a couple days? Was this a couple months?
Or? Assassination? It was 5 hours before his assassination. I was with him that morning in the Rain Hotel, room 306.
Wow.
Okay. My room number was, I think, 207. I was downstairs. Okay, the Rain Hotel. And I was with him that morning. I don't know when he slept. I tried to catch him sleep. I never did. I was young too, you know what I mean? Sometimes we'd go to hotels and stuff like that, and they had extra bedrooms and stuff. I used to sleep on the couch. Because I was going to be up before Martin Luther King. He was standing around there looking out the window, fully dressed. So anyway, we were there talking. And so that was that morning. I got on the plane, headed to Washington, D.C. to open up the campaign office for the Poor People's Campaign. With press conference. And when I arrived in National Airport, it's called Reagan Airport now, that's when I found out nobody was there to pick me up. Okay? Walter Fontre was supposed to be picking me up, and he didn't show up. And I was hoping, and that's when I got the word Martin Luther King had been shot. The folks in the airport told me. So that's when I got on my phone. The UPI, United Press International, he was the one that broke down in tears. He told me. So I found out Martin Luther King. Okay? So I haven't had time to grieve. I've not grieved for Martin Luther King's death. I said my focus has got to be on developing institutions. Okay? And Martin Luther King said that's what you need to do. He's not here. Okay? He was supposed to let me in Washington when they finished Memphis. Look how long it took him to get to Washington. He's there now. Finally made it. But in the meantime, I had to be working on this stuff. So what I had to do is jump back in school, because I had dropped out after the Freedom Riders. So I went to Boston University Law School for a year. You know why? I wanted to think like a lawyer. Now, one of the things that's important for you to do is to learn to think like a lawyer. I went to law school 1 year in order to learn how to think like a lawyer. You know how a lawyer is trained to think? Both sides. Thesis, antithesis. All right? So anyway, think like a lawyer. Then I went to Harvard so I could go to graduate school, as you see here, because I had to now understand how you put things into institutions. We have institutionalized nonviolence into the prison in Rhode Island. Did you know that? In Rhode Island? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Inmates get certificates. They get their sentences reduced at probation period because we work with the system. Okay? All right? Institutionalizing in different kinds of things. We got them in universities all over the world as well.
History buff. And incidentally, my grandmother did raise me also.
Okay.
I just wanted to know, like you guys were going through all of what you were going through, you know, the dogs, the beatings. Did you ever think that you would live to see us have a black president?
No. Short answer is no. I felt it would happen sometime in the far future, but I didn't think I'd be here, especially what I was doing. Okay? I was living a high-risk life. I'm sorry we don't have time to talk about some of the things that I experienced, you know, but the short of it is I was targeted for assassination when Medgar Evers was killed. Remember Medgar Evers was in Mississippi? Same night. I didn't know he had been killed because I was in the hospital. He tried to kill me. I came to my house that night after a mass meeting. I had some flyers I was taking out of a car. And I'd driven up and I saw these two white guys in a car. One was under the hood and the other under the steering wheel. So I figured they had car trouble. So I looked over there. But it was not unusual to see, you know, white folk in my neighborhood because I lived right on the edge. And they used to pass my house all the time because they lived down the street. So that wasn't anything unusual. Like if I was in the middle of the hood, that'd be something different, okay? So I was bending over and I heard these footsteps come up behind me. And I knew that, you know, I could hear the leaves, but it was walking. So we were trained in nonviolence to always turn and face your opponent because your eyes is the most powerful weapon that you have. Okay? So I turned around and I looked, and it was a big, tall guy, crew cut, haircut. His sleeves were so, shirt was so tight, his sleeves rolled up from his muscles. He was huge. And of course he looked larger than that, you know, because I was so small. And he said, buddy, how much you charge me to give me a push? A push? I thought he wanted my life. A push. I said, no problem. I got in my car, put it up, and I had a 48 Chevrolet, and I got right behind his car and was ready to go. But my car had high bumper guards because those old 48 Chevrolets, so I was, you know, no problem pushing. You can push a truck. So he bent down and looked. He says, I said, well, are the bumpers matching? He said, well, you better come out and see. So I'm in a hurry, right? It's late at night. I jump out and I bend over. Boom! He hit me. I went straight down to the ground. I rolled over, got back up and looked at it. He came up, hit me again. Okay, caught me there, about 7 stitches, you know. I rolled down, got back up. See, I knew he was going to hit me, so I rolled with the punch. It's like the quarterback, protect the ball. You know it's coming, right? So what you do is roll with it. It's called Aikido. You know the martial art, Aikido? That's the martial art that's related to nonviolence. So you need to learn that while you're here anyway, okay? Good. So, the third time, he came and he hit me in the temple of my head, because that's the soft spot. He came straight down. I went straight on my knees, rolled over again, got back up, looked at him. And then he backed up, because he was supposed to knock me out the first go around. So he was wondering, what kind of head is this? Hard-headed so-and-so. You know what I mean? And I realized he had a gun. I didn't know he had a gun. That's what he hit me with. So I called out to my friend, you know, light-skinned black guy. We call him Red. I said, Red, Red. Because I wanted somebody to see this thing. Okay. So here I turned around. Red coming across the doggone bouncer with a rifle. I said, Red, no, don't shoot. I stood between the guy who was beating me up and Red. Wouldn't let Red shoot him. He jumped in the car and took off. You see, I wasn't thinking about myself. I was thinking about him, and I was thinking about Red. Okay? And in nonviolence, that's what you constantly got to do is think other. That's the power in nonviolence. When you think about what's going to happen to the other person, that empowers you. Okay? You see, he couldn't take my life because I'd already given it. Mm-hmm. How are you going to take something, okay, from somebody who has already given everything? So I found out later from the FBI, he came to investigate, because I was doing voter registration, okay? And he said that there were 3 of us supposed to have been killed that same night. And that was a guy in Louisiana named Ben Elton Cox. He was on the Freedom Rides. Medgar Evers, they did get him. And they were scheduled to kill me. The only thing that saved me was, okay, the fact that I was trying to protect the guy who was trying to kill me. Okay?
Thank you for coming, Dr. Lafayette. It's a real honor to be here right now to be able to even ask this question I'm about to ask you. I've taken the AVP class 4 times. I'm on track becoming a facilitator, like a co-facilitator, me and another person the same year. And I've taken the Kingian Nonviolence course twice, like that, right? Like, can you speak? I thought I heard you say that you guys were, it was the same thing, right? Because it kind of did seem like the same thing as I'm reading through both curriculums. But I just need more clarification on it. I mean, you said it was yours too, right?
Well, no, I trained the first group.
Oh, okay.
Now, they took off with it.
Okay.
Okay? Next time I hear about it, it's in countries all over the world. You get my point?
Yeah.
So I don't know what it looks like now.
Oh, okay.
You know more about it than I do now.
It's pretty good now. It's pretty.
Okay, but the foundation is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I want to make that clear.
And also, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Lafayette, for coming out and sharing with us. I've also took both classes, and I got a lot out of it. And, you know, if I never listened to nothing in my life, I listened to what you said today because it made a lot of sense to me. And it will have a very big impact on my life. I will challenge the research and find out some good information. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I want to thank you for coming. I've also been in 2 of the classes with Jonathan and Kazoo. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the seeds that you planted in individuals to bring us the information on the nonviolence. Conflict prevention. If I would have listened to, if I would have took your classes 30 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been through what I've been through. But I want to thank you, and just to let you know, a seed's been planted within me on what you started some years ago to take back to my community, to my family members. In regards of, we don't have to fight. We don't have to resort to violence. We can resolve something on a positive level. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for taking the time out to come and share with us. Thank you.
It's an honor to meet you and hear you speak. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. And I just want to say that it was a pleasure and very motivational. I always enjoy, speakers we get in here, and yours is definitely one of the better ones. I can identify with. I don't personally identify. I need to identify with, or work through struggles like they're saying that, because everybody's gonna get them. You know what I mean? And you just gotta, just keep going. So I like your story. The story is very motivational. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to thank you, Dr. Lafayette, for coming today. It was an honor and a privilege to meet you and to hear your share and the way everything works. I also took the ABC class and the Kingian class with Sue and Blow. And it inspired me a lot that one day we can't get back if we get on the right track. I appreciate my example section, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Lafayette, I appreciate your presentation today. I like the quality of the information that you instilled in the people that you trained, and to be able to reach us in mass numbers and to bring this message is so vibrant in today's culture and the young youth that's coming up, and and the quantity of people that's implementing this message that you put down in a so broad perspective. So I appreciate you coming here and giving us the information that really touched me too.
First of all, thank you for the inspiring words. Thank you for your work, and I will take your word off. Okay. And we'll get in contact with you.
I'll be hearing from you, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, let's get it on.
Definitely will. I get out there next month.
Yeah.
And I will be in contact. Thank you,
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for coming. And I'm that uncle or that best friend you was talking about that loves to perform. And I have a problem with putting my emotions and my life experience into my songs.
Yeah.
And I would really like to get with you, and so we can get something going. Because I'm really about my blackness, but I'm also, I have white people in my family and all these other people. But it's not about, race. It's about peace. So I'd like to thank you for coming.
I was studying New Testament because I was a Bible major in Nashville. John Lewis and all of us. We were in school together. Okay, sit-ins and stuff like that. Yeah, sure. And what happened is I was in Nashville and I kept turning the radio. This is back in the 60s, okay? And I couldn't get anything but country music. I don't know how many stations, man, but nothing but that stuff. So I said, okay, all right. So I turned it off, and I said, well, no, wait a minute, hold it. Information is very important. I'm hearing that music, but I need to listen to what they're saying. Yeah, I need to know what they're saying. So I turned it, because everybody else listening. Okay, so I turned it back on. You know what it said? It was about a song about a governor in Alabama named Jim Folsom. And he was a senator then, I think. And what happened is he's a white, of course, in Alabama. And he knocked up this young little girl, and the girl had a baby. And he didn't even pay any attention to her. He was, wealthy and rich and everything. He let the little girl go, little teenage girl. And that's what the song was about. She was poor, but she was honest. Victim of a rich man's pride. when she met that Christian gentleman, big Jim Folsom, and she had a child by him. It's the rich who gets the glory. It's the poor who gets the blame. It's the same the whole world over. Now ain't that a dirty crying shame? Now who says the legislator making laws for all mankind? While she roams the streets of Coleman, Alabama, selling grapes from her grapevine.